Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start.
They can hear us, and YouTube has started also. So.
Okay, let's go ahead and call our meeting to order while you're having your technical difficulties. Will you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, delegation of visitors. I saw that nobody had signed up. Approval of agenda, audience introductions, I skipped it. Steve?
I am Steve from HUK.
Sounds like a meeting that you're, hi, I'm Steve. Welcome, Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Approval of agenda. I wanted to add for items for information to the board, a report from Katie and Amber about the summer OSBA conference.
And can I also do one for F for our retreat we had?
Yes, of course you may. You don't want to do that during your superintendent
I
report?
can. I
Yeah,
can
just
do
do it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Is that
do it.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else we need to add? Could I get a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda with the noted change.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda with the item 5E. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda is approved. Delegation of visitors, I saw nobody had signed up. Number 4, appointment of new board. I guess we should have caught that. It needs to be board chair and vice chair, right? Okay, well, I'd like to start by nominating Amber for chair.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for Amber for board chair. Is there any further discussion? Katie or Jenny, you have anything?
I don't.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. I'm gonna hand the meeting over to the new chair.
Okay. So we need to do an appointment for the new vice chair. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Katie.
Second.
Jenny was quick to second that, wasn't she?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks.
Katie, are you willing to accept that nomination?
Yeah, I am.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I did not.
Okay. I didn't hear if they had voted either. Did you hear that?
They did. They hadn't yet.
It's the same as a yes.
All right. Then motion passes. Thanks, Katie. Okay. Items for information for the board, number 5, updates from HMK.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed that they've got the footings excavated or hand dug. They're about 2 or 3 feet deep. I was shocked to see how big those footings are for a single-story building, but that's engineering for you. So, and we've continued on with the framing, made good progress with framing and the seismic connections. And so started roofing, so next steps after completing the framing, we'll start working into the HVAC, plumbing, and electrical by the end of this month, the 1st of August. So, at this time we're on schedule, and so we should we're looking pretty good with the progress that we're making.
If anybody wants to tour it afterwards, I know you just saw it the other day. But if you want to go into the old elementary wing or the gym after we're done, I'm more than happy to take you.
So that's all I've got for now. Any questions?
And are you staying around for 6 H and I? Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to 5B, reports, superintendent reports.
Sure. So I sent you all just kind of an update on everything going on here at school over summer. It's kind of a slow time as far as obviously with students, but there's still a lot of stuff that we have going on here at school. So I just talked about throttling down for our 21-22 school year. Also started our summer activities program. We had about 55 students turn out for the first event. We have about 50 students signed up for tomorrow. We had an open gym movie last Friday. We had about 20 students out for that one. We're looking forward to doing this a couple more times during the summer, and Mrs. Ford will be here with us tomorrow, and our counselors here with the students and myself. So they're getting an opportunity to hang out with all of us and interact with us. So we're hoping that'll be good. Most of our athletic teams and FFA participating with workouts and retreats this summer. Our FFA went on a retreat that they did a couple weeks, I guess it was about 3 weeks ago now. And we understand the time, especially with our students at work, doing that stuff over the summer. And I know, Brian, you did some stuff at Linfield with football camp back in the day. And, it's a lot of time that people take out of their summer to be better with whatever it is that they're working on. So we appreciate that. And our maintenance staff is working their tail off. They tore up all that gym floor and tore out all the nails. There were a lot of nails in that. Again, that was the huge difference in allowing us to get a new floor instead of having to patch that floor. Otherwise, Business Oregon was not going to approve that. So I really appreciate them busting their tails and getting that done in there. So, and then, we're the office, Missy, and I think it's mostly Missy, over the past few weeks was filling those spots in the classes. We're doing pretty well with that. We're excited about kind of where we are. We haven't heard a lot of students, withdrawing yet, but we'll see as we get closer to registration. We're in a good spot compared with where we were in June. So we appreciate that again, that we had some movement early on in order to put us in a better position as we go into registration. It feels like a more normal year now with the numbers that we're on compared with where we were in June. And then the next thing on here, it just says, look forward to seeing our students and families at registration. We have that August 2nd and 3rd. I encourage families to contact the office if you have any more questions regarding registration. And then lastly, I did get a chance to go to the OSBA conference with a couple of our board members, but also we did a admin and office retreat. We got a lot of stuff done. We had a list that we put on a Google Doc that we were working on, front and back sides, and we even got through a good chunk of the staff and student handbooks, and then we'll go ahead and go through the rest over this next couple of weeks. On August 8th board meeting, we'll bring both of those to you folks, so that way you can approve those or look to make some changes. One of the items that we talked about, I mentioned it to a couple of you, that we heard this in the end of the school year and then at the retreat about some time for staff, dedicated time for that staff development. And while some schools do an early release or a late start or early release, we don't feel like that would work well for our community. And I know I shared that with some of you as well, because of the number of out-of-district kids that we have, et cetera. When you look at a 4-day school week, schools, Alsea, Amity, and Falls City, a lot of them have much different times on release than we do, but they structure their day a little differently. So, for example, Falls City, they start at 7:45, but they get out at 3:05. We're not looking to do something that extreme, but we are trying to figure out ways with our schedule that we can still provide that professional development, but have it impact our families less. And so we're going to write up a proposal, Christy and I, will, and send that to you folks so you can look it over the next couple weeks. And then we can talk more about it, prior to August 8th, but we can talk about the August 8th board meeting. We'll talk about that. Do you have any questions on that? You look like you had a question, maybe not.
Nope, just
No.
curious what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, it's fine, we'll do that. But so I wanted to make sure we mentioned that, and the need for it, and we'll write that up for you folks and send that your way.
You know, when we first started the 4-day school week, it was that's what Fridays were for.
Right. I remember that. I remember my dad saying that.
That's what
No,
community members are gonna come back and say.
And maybe,
Yeah.
and that means
Yeah,
you'd
well.
have to change the number of days in that contract then probably. So, I mean, that's the other thing with it too. So,
That's because we've added so much to our staff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not anything we can do about it. That
yeah,
came state mandated.
well, like Freshmen on Track is a good
Right.
example for that we're supposed to be tracking that. And we got dinged down on our Student Success Act stuff and our money we get from them. And it's the same people that do our SIA. And they said you need to do a better job of, making sure that you have more regular meetings with your on track for freshmen. That's just one example, like you said. Things have changed over that 25, 30
They
years.
have. They
So-
have.
Just a little bit.
So any more you want to say on that or not? Don't feel like you have
Just
to,
the only thing I would add is just the increased opportunity for communication. It's tricky if staff have kids all day until they, for example, our classified staff, they leave at 3:45, so that's only a few minutes after kiddos leave, and we're asking a lot of them in the classroom. They're running reading groups, they're running math groups, and they might have behaviors out on the playground that we need to address as a group, and there's just not time to do that. So we want to be more efficient, and that's some feedback we've received from our staff is we need more time to communicate and make sure we are all on the same page, we're all saying the same things, we're all acting on the same things, and addressing things without taking as much time, having to go through multiple people in different timeframes instead of all at once.
It's one of the bright silver linings of when we were meeting remotely is that we were actually having weekly meetings at, a specified time. I want to say, let's say it was 3:30 to 4 on Thursdays that we were meeting as a group. And we haven't been having those in the past, like the 25 years I've been here, we never had that where our classified staff were meeting with our teachers as well. Because our staff meetings after school were always teacher meetings really effectively what it was. So,
And having more regular and consistent meeting times
Yeah.
versus the once a month or something like that as issues arise. But also just providing training for our classified staff is really important. Keeping them trained on our curriculum, keeping them trained on our behavior plans, and it's going to be really helpful to look at.
But other than that, it was really successful. I felt like we got a lot done in a couple of days that we stayed there. We look forward to continuing to have those discussions going, and like I said, we'll give you those books for August 8th to get the next board packet on August 1st. So,
Okay, elementary and middle school report.
I think the only thing I would really add to what Dan said is, I believe we talked about this before, but kindergarten, kind of a boot camp coming up, August 15th. It's structured to be 2 weeks long with parent involvement for 2 of the evenings. And that will be pretty much a full day. And the way it's kind of structured is the first half of the day is with our current kindergarten teacher. And then the second half of the day will be with potentially classroom aid, but then also some LU students. And they'll be basically following in the footsteps and completing the afternoon based on some of the program that Polk County has already created, but then also adding what the classroom teacher is working on with the students in the morning time. So we think it's going to be a really great program. Lunch will be provided. We feel like having parents involved early on and having an open house prior to school starting is really going to benefit our incoming families. I believe that's it that I could add to what Dan said. Excited about planning for next school year.
Excellent. Special education reports.
So one of Erin's old reports. Number hasn't changed. Obviously, we're in the middle of summer, but she's been working on staff scheduling and planning for next year, and then federal reports. She had more reports on her plate with her job change this year, so she was helping out with some of those reports right before we were leaving for our retreat. So but she got a week off there too, so that was nice. We're gonna be able to get away for a little bit. So anyway, that was it for that, and I can go on to maintenance
Yeah.
report if you want.
Facilities report, yep.
So with this one here, like I said earlier, they've been working around the building nonstop. We had a little issue with the mower, they're getting that fixed, but we had a local person drop off their mower today to let us use that one until the other part comes in and Troy can fix that. He just ordered it again last week. Irrigation's up and running. And so they're doing stuff outside a lot. There's a lot of briar bushes. I don't remember there being that many briar bushes out around the track and the football field. And it was crazy. I'm sure Brian had a great view of it from his window.
Just heard about it from the neighbor.
I'm sure you did. So did I. So,
They're everywhere this year.
yeah. So it was pretty bad. Just hadn't seen it that much on our track before. But anyway, they did a lot of work inside and out. And again, they're helping out with a lot of things and working hard as usual. So,
Move
any
on to-
questions?
Sorry, any questions? Sorry. Okay, spotlight on education.
So honestly, I was going to talk a little bit more about that retreat, but it really covered a lot of it. I want to appreciate the time from, tell everybody that was able to go, our secretaries and our admin, I appreciate their time away from their family. I know that's tough sometimes. And they were very willing to go do that in order to, be able to discuss the items that we felt we needed to do in order to, gear up for next year. And that, just things here and there that we felt were important to make sure that we went over to get on the same page and make some change. Hi there.
Okay, let's move on to.
Yeah, sorry about
go
that.
around.
Okay.
Come on.
Here's this, by the way. I don't know if I put mine there. It's just the same thing I said earlier today.
Okay.
Katie, did you want to grab a packet?
Oh, yeah. We'll move on to item 5D, resignations and new hires.
Yeah, so resignations, we had Talani Newton resign from all three of her positions. We've heard this for a few years, or a couple of years now, that she may be in order to go do her, continue her education, but she's going to be starting, I believe it's winter term with her education, or continue her education. And she wants to do some further items in the medical field. And so she is going to be moving out of state and just wanted to make sure that we had enough time to find somebody for those positions. So she had done middle school assistant volleyball, high school volleyball, and then girls assistant basketball and the assistant middle school girls basketball. So she resigned all of those positions. And then the other one was from Chris Gubern. So he is officially retiring. I think he sent you in the email. Still wants to continue his work here. He realizes that, it may not go longer than 1 year. It could if both sides agree to that, the district and him. But he is interested in continuing to work here for this next year. Still plans on doing all the same, so coaching, still helping out with athletics and still obviously teaching every day. So, that comes down here a little bit later. He'd like to have a temporary contract like we did for Mrs. Thompson. He's interested in doing that, I should say. So those are the two resignations. Again, appreciate Talani. It's always nice to see a former student come up and help out. Especially after she went to Chemeketa and got a chance to play there and then come back and help. And then Chris obviously has done a lot of stuff around Perrydale over these years. And, I appreciate all the time and commitment he's done, and whether it was building the field house out there with some other local community members and staff, or just the time with camps and raking leaves with the football team back in the day, and all down in Eugene, and just all the little things. And I always thought it'd be weird to see some of these guys, Dean and Chris, who I started with here, retiring, and the fact that that time has come is a little bit bittersweet, but odd for me as well. So anyway, we'll get on to the other contract temporary contract here in just a little bit.
Okay. To item 5E, OSBA report. Katie, I don't know if you want to start or if you want to just kind of, did she talk to you about that?
Oh, Dan, give me a heads up.
Okay, yeah, so if you just want to share something that you picked up from
Yeah.
OSBA conference to share with.
Yeah, so, well, as you reported, Amber and I went over to the OSBA summer conference, and I think the most useful pieces for me were like the workshops that they had, especially around finances, the legal side. Some of it was like a refresher, but on the finance piece, I think it was really, really good to go through that kind of funding mix. So I think for me, it was almost like, a little bit of like new board member training, which was helpful. So kind of what I picked up on.
I think for me, one of the big ones was day one. So our day one training was about the big focus about relationships and how we get parents engaged in the district. And I think that Mr. Dugan and I were sitting next to each other in the room, and so I think that there was one question that they asked about if any kid in any school district could go anywhere they wanted to, would they come to your school? And we looked at each other and immediately went, yeah, because we're doing something right here. And it was really kind of hit home with building relationships with parents and families and kind of, connecting them to the school, not just inviting them to things, but getting them to want to be there and be engaged. So that was kind of big for me. And then the other thing that we talked about a lot was that rural representation through OSBA. They're just getting started. And so they're trying to build that committee through OSBA. They've got, 14, I think, members now. Is that what they said? Something like that. I requested to be a part of that too, because I kind of wanted to find out what was going on with it. So, but they want to kind of develop a caucus, kind of like the People of Color caucus that they developed. And so they actually have a vote to be able to have some input on what goes on with rural representation. So we'll see where that goes and how that develops, but it's still a year out. So we'll see where that kind of ends up.
Can I share a concern I had about that?
Yes, please.
I think all three of us talked
Yes.
about it. They don't have a definition of what rural is.
That is
And
correct.
that's the
Correct.
concern.
Yes.
That's the
That's
concern
what
we
they're
all
working on.
have
That's why I
is,
turned down the invite.
what is rural? And,
Right.
if Perrydale's not part of that, that's gonna be pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
So how they define that, I think, is going to be important for us to stay on top of, because, is it 1A, 2A, 3A, type deal? Is it, so far from hospital was one suggestion. And so my
And
concern is that
proximity to
people are
other
going
big
to be
districts.
jockeying for position a lot in that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Pendleton shouldn't be considered more rural, but maybe they, with the size of their school, do they have the same issues that Adrian may have, for example, or Crane,
Right.
et cetera. So,
It was brought up a lot at the administrative professionals workshop too. That was a lot of their frustrations, was that there wasn't enough support for like some of us that aren't going through those same things that the big districts are going through. The rural was brought up a lot as far as what else can we get to help support our small schools.
so to always be,
I think you just defined it. And
Right.
that's the piece that I was frustrated with when they first started having the conversation is they were looking at all these other things, like you mentioned, the hospital and how far you are from town and families' access to grocery shopping. But the reality is it's always about size and the voice at the table.
Yep.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yep.
Everything that we hear is about Portland and Pendleton and Salem Kaiser and Bend. It defines the rest of the state. And so that's the piece. That's
And it's funny because for us, the people that were there were not from those districts. They were all from smaller districts.
Mhm.
There were a lot of us at that table that had a lot of those same concerns and exactly what you were saying. Well, so we're close to Salem Kaiser and West Salem. Does that eliminate us just by proxy? And that's frustrating. So
But that's why it's really important to have somebody on there and be engaged, because otherwise we're just gonna potentially get left behind if you're not kind of at the table shaping it.
Yeah. Yes.
I freaked him out a little bit showing up.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were at the lobbyist table, the legislative happenings table, and were there 3 lobbyists there plus the OSBA guy? I think there were three board members who are lobbyists or have been, and he was just like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is a group I have to talk to."
I would have loved to
So
have seen
that was fun to hear and see.
Yeah.
So. it was good.
Anything else from either of you, or did you all want to share anything with what you brought up, or? We had a good group this year, 5 of us there.
Did they say anything about why legislatively they're so far behind on getting packets out or communicating?
Spencer said they would have packets out before the end of July. He said July 25th, I think.
Just
I don't know why they're so late,
But
but
still
it's
months
a big
behind.
packet. Yeah, it's a big packet this time.
I know I've been worried about it and haven't seen it
He
yet.
said it'd still be a couple weeks out.
And I think they mentioned in ours, they didn't want to send out multiple, like they were still revising some things. They didn't want to send out revision after revision after revision. They wanted to make sure that they had it as easy as possible going out.
My hope is that they may have something in there also about, recent Supreme Court case stuff with, religious
That
implications, et
is one of
cetera.
them.
And what that's gonna look like, because we probably will need some guidance because, as a district, right now, our lawyers are saying, I don't know, they don't know how that would impact us. So I think they're trying to probably get their bearings, all those, I know that group of lawyers that work with the schools in our state, have some type of caucus or, meeting that they do. I'm sure they're trying to work through that. So.
Okay. Then I guess we'll move to number 6, items for board action. A, board minutes from June meeting. I actually had a correction on that.
Did you? What was
Yeah,
it?
and maybe it's just my memory, but I could have sworn you were here because we were talking about the chairs.
Yeah.
You called the meeting to order. Yeah. Okay, because it has Brian calling the meeting to order. We were just thinking maybe it was a carryover from a prior month. But I am 99% sure.
I didn't even
you-
notice that. I read through the minutes and skipped that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I missed it. I called the meeting to order, yeah.
Thought I was losing it. from that. Is there anything else on the minutes at all?
I'm not sure even.
Do you have a motion on that?
I move that we approve the June board meeting minutes
Second.
with the noted change.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 6B, bills and AP checks. I sent some questions out to Cindy. They were small, but she responded to everybody. I just asked because there was no description, so I just wanted to verify what they were. Any other questions on those?
Move to approve bills and AP check numbers 17240 through 17321 and 9000134 through 9000136.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I know. Item 6C, school profile.
So the school profile, actually, when they were working on it, they didn't really make changes at this point because some of that, there was flux on those people still getting in, but all of those spots that we opened up, I believe all but one filled. so far. So we are, like I said, in much better shape now than we were before our June meeting.
Is that elementary and high school?
Yes, I'm not sure.
Even 12?
Yeah, we
So-
had some exchange students, we have 3 now. And our other seniors that, saying they're going to move, we'll see if they have. But that still puts us in the low 20s right there. But that's better than 18.
So these numbers aren't accurate at the moment?
So she had these ones still from the end of the school year. She said that she was still working on getting all those added in. So that's where it was. She just didn't have all of those, we didn't have all of the paperwork done for the other school districts as released, et cetera. In fact, I just signed off on 6 today that we received. So we just didn't have all that information yet from the districts to sign off on in order to include them. If that makes sense.
Even if it's mid board meetings, could we get an updated
Sure.
one soon?
Yeah.
That'd be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we table this from right now since we don't have an accurate count, or?
It's just information. I think it's okay. I just would like to know where we're at when you get the students at
Sure.
it. I mean, it's
So
just good communication.
Yeah, and so I'll try to get one to you before we have registration. I will, and then we'll get one to you, where we were, at that 8th meeting as well. So
Okay, that'd be great.
send that to you before that. So,
Move to approve the school profile.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, item 6D, resolution 2301, annual organizational resolution.
All right, so right here, just the same thing we do every July. Just going through the list on who those people may be, the signers, et cetera. You'll notice on 7, it says signers that on the account, we had just board chair. We didn't know for sure how that would go out tonight. Now that we know, even though we just did this last month, we're going to go ahead and have to do that again. It won't be that bad, but so we'll work with you on that and get that set up. Cindy will work with you on that. Don't know if there are any other questions. The lunch and breakfast, the lunch stayed the same, breakfast is what we talked about. But I don't know if there are any other ones. Middle school and high school sports and family cap are still the same. Are there any questions on that? So, it's back to you now.
I'll move to approve the annual organizational resolution.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item 6E, Chris Gubern temporary teaching contract.
So much like the contract we did for Janine Thompson, we would like to just offer a similar temporary contract to Chris Gubern. Janine was not the only teacher we've done that for, obviously, in the past, but she's our most recent one. We don't always have staff that want to do that, some just retire outright. But it is pretty typical that we do that. Some school districts actually have it in their contracts for their teaching contracts, the certified, that they can do that. We've never felt like we needed to have that here at Perrydale. So it's not something that, we would need to make sure we come to you folks each time and ask for that. So I would, hope that we could entertain a motion on that and see if that would work out, that we had him hired as a temporary teacher for the 22-23 school year.
And I was looking back at the letter.
Sure.
is he gonna stay on, was that in your email? Would he stay on as athletic director also
Athletic
for
director
the
and
next year?
coaching.
And coaching,
teaching.
yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll move to approve 50 restrictions.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Chris Gubern's temporary teaching contract. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And 6F, check sign authorization.
What do you need for that?
We'll have to contact the bank again, but I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
like we did last time.
Approving the check signers to be Dan Dugan, Cindy, and Amber.
And then we'll just go ahead and
And
do the minutes to that and take those to the bank.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an actual resolution. The bank just needs it in the minutes.
In the minutes.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't.
Is it
Oh.
Last time.
items for board action?
No, I think it just needs to be in the minutes. So I'll move that we approve the check signers for the district, board chair Amber Burns, superintendent Dan Dugan, and what's your title? Business manager.
Yeah.
I almost called you board secretary. I'm so sorry. Cindy Cruikshank.
Are we voting on this?
Yeah, we gotta have a second.
Oh, did you second? I'll
Yeah,
second.
he did, yeah.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. The check sign authorization, is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, item 6G, board administrative secretary contracts.
All right, so we had interviews for this. Amber represented the district during this time, and we had applied. She's been with us for a year now, as I put in the email I sent to you folks. She's excited to be here. She wants to be here long term. We appreciate that. She has some good roots in our community, not just Dallas, but knows people that from our Perrydale school, et cetera, and we're happy to have her in this role. So we did the contract, which has become pretty standard for us. We negotiated an amount, and I spoke with Amber about this as well on the amounts, and Trina as well as the board chair during that time, and came up with a contract that we felt was fair with compensation. She would be confidential employee in this contract here, so it would not follow the same guidelines as the classified, even though a lot of it does, not all of it does. So, and she's aware of that as well. I don't know if you have any questions at this time.
Move to approve the board administrative secretary contract.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board administrative secretary contract. Is there any further discussion?
Just that it's a confidential position, and we just ask that, maybe you may not always agree with us, but try to just keep it professional and understand that we're all just trying to do the best that we can.
I will.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Item 6H, bond project budget revision.
Just
So,
trying to force you to sign your first paper.
He already had me sign it.
oh, did you get her contract already?
I was trying to
Yeah,
get
it's
you to
right
sign the
I
contract.
have one right here separate, but you can sign that one, that
That's
works.
okay.
I'll probably have you sign hers and yours then, so that way we have got a second copy for her too.
Sounds good.
Oh, Evan.
Evidence, yeah, exactly. So we had some meetings last week. Steve and Paul represented, H&K obviously, and represented our district. And, I felt like we had a really productive meeting on Friday morning with Gertie. And I wanted to say thank you to Steve and Paul. They really advocated for our district. And with the revisions that we sent you today, we're about 130,000 less now than we were last week, through some change of the calendar and then some other items that Steve and Paul identified as something we could probably value engineer with. And one small mistake I noticed, or that Steve had noticed too, on door assemblies. So where we are now, the board will have to take action on the amendment to the agreement with Gubern to cover the bond scope and the awesome scope. I still feel weird saying awesome all the time. It just sounds goofy, but it allows us to go ahead and move forward with our project and start October 10th would be the actual start date. We are already doing some electrical items with the contract that was awarded to McMullen Electric. And so we've been working with them.
You
What's
said
that?
October 10th start date for
For the actual bond
the
work
bond work, okay.
would
Thank
actually
you.
start
Sorry.
then. I mean, there's some pre-work being done.
Okay.
But that would be the anticipated start date for that. So, correct on everything so far?
Good.
Yeah. So what H&K recommended is if we went with the two alternates, we were, again, going to go with the one with the ADA and then the CT, which again is a little different funding stream, obviously, than the bond, but those would have put us about $72,000 over. But now with the revision, with those two, we're up 55,000, approximately a little over 54,000. So we're in the black, and this is a guaranteed maximum price. The only thing that would change is if we had a bunch of things where, you need to add this or this, and that's not what we're looking to do at all. So that would still give us a contingency, as you see with that 55,000, as you saw possibly saw in the paperwork. I know everybody was busy today as well. But with that new paperwork that we received today, that 54,000 was added to contingency, giving a total of $364,700 towards contingency. That's not also, it doesn't include the GMP builder's contingency.
No.
That does not. So in addition to that amount, the construction contingency that you see on this other side is 75,000. So you have that 364 plus that 75,000, and that's how much we would have still in contingency. What's that? Did I say that wrong?
No, you said it correctly.
Okay. So that's the amount that we would have total. Some of that, again, that's part of with the construction contingencies, like what happened in the gym and underneath the other classrooms for the seismic. The hand digging was a lot more extensive, so they had to take some extra out of the contractor's contingency in order to pay the other firm. So in the end, though, that all would come back to us if it's not utilized anyhow, but that still came out of that fund instead of our own contingency, sorry. So I think we're in a much better position than we were before. As of Friday morning, it's not where we wanted to be, but it was definitely encouraging to hear. When I saw these numbers today, I was in a much better mood than I was, prior to that. Steve, is there anything else you wanted to add on any of this?
No, you said it well, man.
It's a first for me. I listened to you guys, huh?
Yeah.
See? Questions from the board by any chance?
So in this list, then this would not include the covered walkway? Am I reading this correctly? Because there's not a bid number
Correct.
with that, okay. And would not include the freezer then as well?
Yeah.
And those were just because they were over.
Yeah, so on the other GMP, we got the covered walkway with 175,000. And then the other part was 268. Now, do I think that we would get a good chunk of this contingency back? And after we open up those walls and see where we are, maybe be coming back to the board on what direction we might want to go? Absolutely. But until then, I know that the whole board has been concerned about, what that contingency looks like. And, you know, it's definitely something we could look to add if we choose to do so at a later date, but that's what they're suggesting at this time. You know, we do have some other ideas on where we could put that storage for the kitchen and the open freezers that we can put, you know, close to the kitchen, but not in the kitchen at this point. It wouldn't be a walk-in, et cetera, but that would at least give us some opportunity. The other thing is that we have the $50,000 we did put in the budget for kitchen upgrades if necessary. We don't want to move on that yet because we want to see where we landed with everything. But that is some money that if we needed it, we could look to draw from as well, if that's what the board would like to do. So
on the 329,900,000, that's for the culinary arts. That is not bond money, right?
that is not bond money.
All of it. Not bond money.
$9,000 I have to come up, so we have about
You're short 9,000.
320, but we have, yes and no, because remember we had the other SIA grant from ESD
Right?
that we hadn't utilized. We could utilize from that as well.
Okay.
But I
But
will,
we're not even gonna pull 9,000 from bond.
no.
Okay. Just making sure, because that's like walk-in freezer money.
I-
Okay.
And then the electrical upgrades that would happen to the building would get the welding. So we would fully utilize like the shop area then.
Yeah, and Jed's aware of what we're looking to do.
Fully utilize the shop area and be able to start adding the CNC machine room.
That we can
That'll
look
be-
to add.
That'll be electrically capable, right?
We're not
Yes.
gonna do this again in 5 years.
No.
Okay.
Again, you can ask Steve, I've been on the electrical for as long as he's known me.
Because as soon as it's electrically capable, I mean,
We
we're,
want to be doing that.
Yeah,
Agree
okay.
Completely. Yes,
because we're gonna come in and help the kids. We'll help them design, build it, get it done.
we would love to see that.
I know, it's gotta be electrically supported. And all our welders working.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was, again, one of the good things about having McMullen doing our electric for this project is that he's very aware of our campus and our needs and, you know, understands that we're, you know, wanting to get those welders online, et cetera. We also have had some changes in, you know, at the county that are probably more favorable for us as well because the one gentleman retired. And so we have, you know, a different inspector when it comes to the electrical now as well. So that's been more favorable
really?
for us, yeah.
Oh, it's okay though?
It's favorable,
Okay. Change is hard.
so that's been good.
A new inspector means change everything.
Yeah, I think it's been good though. I think through this process, they've been very helpful actually with this last part that we've been working on. And I've been, you know, somewhat a naysayer in the past, but I've been pleasantly surprised with the communication and going in and talking with them has been very helpful when I have questions. Kayla's been great there at the counter. All right, so what we're looking for then is an agreement to, we need to change the budget first, correct?
We've got a current updated budget, you know, at this time, which will cover our costs. And so any revisions could come in the next month.
Yeah, but Paul had talked about having two different things, the bond project budget revision and then the capital bond project amendment, that we had to do those separately, or that we had to approve those for board action.
Oh, okay, yeah, approve the budget,
Yeah, approve the budget and then
yes,
we go ahead and approve the amendment if the board chooses to
the
do so.
bond project budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one, page 77. Is that the one we're talking about here?
Page 77.
Yeah. This is the one titled Bond Project Revenue Budget.
Yes.
That's the one we're revising.
What were the changes on this specific one? Can you,
There's two
I mean, I know
pages.
what we're looking at on this sheet, but on this one, what are we approving?
The
Specific,
revenue hasn't changed really.
yeah,
We
they
just
look the same.
kind of keep them together, you know, showing revenue and the overall budget. So I guess the revision is really on the overall budget.
Okay.
I'm confused about this.
I am too. Can you guys tell me exactly what I'm looking at?
Sure, so I think the
Different than last time.
original budget did not have the different SIA grant for fiscal year 21-22, 22-23, and
Oh, I
the
see.
ESD, nor the district transfer amount,
Those last four items.
those last four items.
Oh, that's the difference?
That's the difference.
change?
To the left is
Okay,
the original budget, and then the revised is to the right.
I see. Okay.
So do we need to do a motion to revise the budget to the 9,000,005?
Yes.
So,
And that includes the seismic. It's the overall budget.
So we're moving in the SIA grant funds and then an interdistrict transfer of 100,000.
Which was in the budget that was approved. And then Trina, that would be 340.
yeah, it's not adding up.
No, the 340 is,
I did,
that's how much was there for the different SAA. That would be 340 and it was 329. That's what I was saying, if we went with that. Yes, so we had our regular Perrydale SIA
yeah.
from this year and next year. And then that was the Perrydale one. Then the other one was that 20,000. So that's why I say that would cover it if we utilize that ESD SIA. That would give us 11,000 more.
And that's a guarantee to get.
That's guaranteed. We already have the agreements for with the state and the revision for it. I think the ESD money we actually already have.
So we're asking for a motion to approve the revised bond budget in this dollar amount.
Yeah, just the overall,
9,500,000.
yeah, the project amount, and it's because we have additional funding.
Well, I understand the why. I'm just asking what you need
Yeah,
in your
so
minutes.
that you're revising the bond, or you're revising the project budget to,
Okay,
because it wouldn't really just be bond project, because it also has
Project. the revision of so I move to approve the Perrydale School District revised project budget. Is that sufficient? For 9,564,734.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Did Jenny have anything she wanted to ask before we moved on?
What was that?
Did you have anything you wanted to ask before we moved on?
No, I don't. I looked at it earlier, and I mean it relatively makes sense.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 26I, capital bond project amendment for Girding Builders.
And that was the other piece of paper that I sent you last week, but then the revised one was today for the GMP, and that was on this piece of paper. I gave you the front to back. For Jenny, it would have been the item I sent you earlier today. And that was for the amendment to the GMP to include the base bid, the alternate 2 and alternate 3 for those items.
That's the sped bathroom.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, depending on where we are, once we start opening up walls and seeing if there are any big things, then we can come back and look at the other alternates that we have.
And we're calling it Amendment 4. How many amendments are you gonna throw at us, Steve?
He said not many.
We're getting close to the end, I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I move that we approve the Perrydale School District Amendment number 4 for capital bond project. Not to exceed the sum of $2,670,000, am I saying that correct?
Yeah.
$237,000 for a total not to exceed contract sum of $5,010,811.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
25 cents over Steve, you owe me an ice cream.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Steve.
Thank you, Steve, for waiting through the whole meeting.
Yes.
I made a note that next time if we have you coming back, we'll try to put you at the first of our board actions, okay?
And then, Steve, if you want to mess with Paul, go ahead and send him a text and say there were problems tonight.
Really messed everything.
That's what he gets for not coming to the meetings and
Right.
you always have to come.
Tell him to call Trina, she's mad.
Okay, number 7, patron inputs. Everybody's here to talk.
Is there anybody on?
I don't know if there's anybody online. Do you know
Line.
Anybody that wants to talk?
Nope.
Okay. Number 8, board comments. Going once?
Well, I think it should be said, like, thank you for Trina for her time as chair.
Oh, I was just gonna say, thank you to Amber.
So appreciate all the time you've put in.
Absolutely.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And a big, huge thank you, Amber, I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I told you I'll help anything you want.
Okay.
You're red.
I'm
This
just
is- You're
happy.
happy, I know.
I'm very happy.
Okay, announcements and dates of importance.
Yeah, we have a couple of items. I'll try to do them in order here. We do have a budget meeting with the PPC on this Wednesday at Hello Rutenclass House at 9 a.m. Then we have registration coming up on August 2nd and 3rd. Next board meeting is going to be August 8th, but we did also want to announce on September 9th, that first Friday we come back to school, is the annual barbecue that we have that's out there. It won't be out on the blacktop this year.
What day are we doing the barbecue?
It's
Are
that
they doing?
Friday, the PPC kind of does that
We
barbecue.
don't have a date yet. for-
Yeah, it's September 9th.
Oh, it is.
September 9th, that Friday, and we do have a home football game that day as well. Yeah, and we'll have a meet and greet in the classrooms as well.
On the 9th?
August 8th, we're back to 6:30.
Yes.
Unless you need it later, because harvest might run until September.
I was gonna say October.
6:30 unless otherwise.
Check with Brian, because
Yeah,
he
I'll
might
check with
be,
you.
yeah. Thank
So as
you.
we get closer, do you just want us to send a message out to everybody, like around the 1st? To ask if they,
That's fine, even if I miss
Yeah.
the work session, and that makes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
okay,
Yeah,
good deal, then we'll
Yeah.
put on, we'll just put on the 6th then.
I'm kind of in the same boat, just.
Yeah.
I feel like a
Everybody.
bomb is about to explode and I'm just sitting around waiting for it to happen.
Yes. Yes.
When's the registration notice going out to people, or has it? I missed it.
That would be an honest question, I'm not quite sure on.
We should get that out.
We'll make sure we do again, but we did have it on the
Like-
other dates, but we'll make sure.
Get it
to
on the
send that.
website and on social media.
Yeah, we'll put it out on both again.
And don't forget to send out the profile before they
Yeah.
Yes.
update it.
We'll do
I'm
it
curious
by
how
the
we're doing
1st
with.
on where we are with that. Yeah.
If there's nothing else, then we will adjourn at 8:03.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jenny.
The red end stream
59 minutes.
and then end.
And
Without
then,
it-